Hello, spiritual seekers. It's Sid here, Spiritual Muse, Crystals of Quartz on Instagram. And I'm here today to talk to you guys a question from a friend of mine, Kate, who was wondering about how to meditate with anxiety or tips on how to meditate with anxiety. So I'm just going to kind of jump into a few suggestions that I have, some things that I've done as a person with anxiety. I've also reached out to a couple of friends of mine that have anxiety and heard kind of their take on it. So basically, one of the first things I want to say is that don't wait until you don't have anxiety to start meditating, because guess what? If you're an anxious person, you're always probably going to be an anxious person. And meditation is one of the things that can actually help that. So don't wait until all the conditions in your life are perfect, because we're humans and that's never going to happen. So just start meditating today, right? With this video, once you watch this, just try a short little meditation. It can be guided, it can be regular. If you're hearing the cooing, that's my baby behind me. So really, just start doing it. That's my biggest advice that I have to say. And it can really just be an in-breath and an out-breath. And really releasing through that out-breath, right? Really just releasing as much as you can. So just breathing in and just exhale through your mouth like that's called the ocean sounding breath. And that can be really helpful too. So one other suggestion that I have is having to do with to-do lists. So if you have a huge to-do list that is going to stretch you out and it's not written down, I do suggest writing it down beforehand, so at least you know the things you're going to work on after, and you're not just like, oh, I'm procrastinating. No, you're going to get it done, but you can take 5 minutes for yourself. You deserve that. Take 5 minutes just to work on your mindfulness, work on meditation, and you're going to be able to get those things done a lot better too. So if there's one thing that's stressing you out like crazy, try to do it before you meditate if you can. If the sink is full of dishes and you're going to only be thinking about that the whole time you're meditating, go ahead and do that first if you can meditate after. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you can meditate with a full to-do list, it's going to make that to-do list a lot easier to do in the long run. Now, another suggestion having to do with a to-do list is turning your to-do list into a meditation. So if you have to do those dishes that are sitting in the sink, guess what? You can be physically present and focusing on what you're doing, breathing as you're washing the dishes, just breathing, scrubbing, exhaling. It may not sound like a ton of fun, but it's actually a really great way to focus on your mindfulness and your meditation if you can be fully present, especially in a task that is maybe not the most enjoyable. Another way that you could meditate is while you're walking, while you're just walking from your car to the store to wherever you need to go, basically. Walking meditation can be very powerful. Now, on that note, I would also like to suggest that if you are feeling super duper anxious, that you try and get physical before you meditate, because sometimes you can just stress yourself out more by sitting down to meditate. If you are feeling really anxious, working out or exercising can definitely help to calm you down before your meditation. That's why yoga is so popular, right? People do the physical first, and then you go into what is called Shavasana, which is laying down, and it's very easy to get into a meditative state when you're doing that, right? So exercise a little bit first. I definitely recommend that. And, just try taking a few in and out breaths at any point during the day to ease your anxiety. And you'll start to notice your anxiety levels will lower if you can just be present on it. If the train hasn't gotten moving too fast already. And that's why meditation and mindfulness can be really helpful for someone with anxiety, because we can get ahead of that momentum before it gets really big and overwhelming and before we kind of sink into that, right? So another thing we can do is a body scan. So you can do a body scan while you're meditating or just anytime throughout the day. You can do a body scan, and that is going to be super, super helpful to just notice where you're feeling things in your body. And if you're feeling good or bad, don't only do it when you have anxiety. Do a body scan when you're feeling good too, and that way you will know when you are feeling good versus when you are feeling bad, and you'll know how it shows up in your body, and you'll know when you start to feel those negative things, when you start to feel anxious. Take that feeling and use it as momentum to get yourself into a few in and out breaths just to calm yourself down before it gets bigger. But really meditating for a person with anxiety can be super, super helpful because it makes you kind of sometimes sit with the anxiety and stress, and it helps you to deal with it. So that way you're not just escaping from it, right? So we're sitting with it instead of escaping from it. Because when we just escape from things, guess what? They just keep building and they get bigger and bigger. So if we can just slow down, sit down and deal with things as they come and be mindful in our day-to-day life, that can be super, super helpful. And it can just really help us to be aware of how we are feeling and preventing us from spiraling, like I said before. So that's about all I want to say about meditating with anxiety. Those are just some simple tips. I would recommend that you check out some of my other videos. I do have some meditation videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to start making more too. So I'll probably do a series of different meditations that can be helpful with anxiety after this point. So we'll probably post a body scan meditation. I'll just do a lot of different things. So there's so many different things you can do, right? I really think it's super helpful if you're feeling anxious at the start of a meditation, just to look around your room and notice the different things that are around you, and notice how calm that can make you, just to see like the physical things. It can be very grounding to do that. So yeah, stay tuned for some guided meditations that I'll be posting. I'm going to try and go live more on Instagram with guided meditations or do IGTV videos. So just stay tuned. If you liked this video, please subscribe. If you have friends you think should start getting into meditation, but they make excuses because of anxiety, send them this video. It can be really helpful just to get a little bit of advice. People with anxiety, we do meditate. It actually helps a lot. So I highly suggest that you start. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you watching, and I hope this helps. Okay. And thanks for the suggestion, Kate.